Welcome to Indie Depth, the show where we go in depth with independent filmmakers about their filmmaking process. I'm your host, Andrew Froning, and today I have actor, producer, Randi Sloane. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me on, Andrew, really.
Of course. So, you are an actress, which is how I first met you. You also do some of the producing, which
Yes.
is awesome that you're able to expand in that way to I'm sure it helps with finding roles and finding projects that you really want to be a part of.
I think it's important. I didn't know this in the beginning, but I think it's important to work both ends of the camera, like in front of the camera, behind the camera. I really feel that being in front of the camera actually helped me as a producer. And I think being a producer helps me as an actor. But I didn't know that until I started going behind the camera.
Sure.
And it just sort of, like I said, it helps, but you just see it from a different perspective. And I know how things look now in the camera. So whether it's an expression, and even though you're trained with, on film and television, don't go too big because it's not stage. And if you do this on television or film, it's going to be like that. So I think being behind the camera helped me as an actor, in different ways, not just that way, in different ways, my performance or just how things work behind the camera. And like I said, being a producer or being an actor helped me as a producer. That's getting all crazy, but I think you get the gist of it.
They inform each other because
Yeah.
it's just a different part of the process. And it's a
Yep,
collaborative art,
absolutely.
so to know or to have an idea of what the end result is going to be, I imagine helps you as an actor. And then being an
Yep,
actor, as a producer, you kind of know what you're looking for.
exactly. Wow, you said it in one line as opposed to my 20 lines.
Well, I learned from your 20 line.
Okay.
So, acting, how did you get started?
It's funny because when I was a little girl, that was what I wanted to be. And it just was, performing shows as a little girl with my sister, with my cousins. It was just such a passion, even as a little kid, I had. But, life happens and you decide to become a private eye. So where that came in, I don't know. I always relate being a private investigator to being an actor. It sort of runs parallel because basically you're pretending to be a different character.
Hmm.
And you're getting paid for it in both instances. And you really have to take on the role of the character if you want people to, believe you and believe your character as far as trying to get information. As an actor, we're trying to get, information. As a private eye, you're trying to get information. So I actually became a private eye for over 15 years. And I worked all different kinds of cases. Everybody thinks being a private eye is all about cheating spouses or, following people. And that's not what it is. I worked in Manhattan at a prestigious firm, actually. And we did a lot of landlord-tenant cases. We did missing persons. We did insurance cases. So only a small percentage of our cases were actually matrimonial.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah.
Okay.
So after I did that for all those years, you get married in between and then, let me have a child. Let me have another child. And I was lucky enough to be a stay-at-home mom, which was great. And then my girls got a little older and, I felt like I wasn't fulfilled. And a good friend of mine said, you always have talked about becoming an actor and really pursuing that outside of school. And I was like, you know what? You're right. So I just totally indulged myself in training and networking and, going to class and really, just absorbing whatever I can to learn about the business. And as we know, in any filmmaking today, you got to know the business.
Yeah.
So the business side of it. So that was about 5.5 years ago. And I haven't stopped.
Good for you. So I imagine being a private eye, the way you describe it, you're almost acting, maybe
Yeah,
to a degree. Like you're being a
yeah,
heightened, it's a heightened conversation where you
absolutely.
have a goal and the other person possibly has a secret. So what's the difference?
The difference is you don't have a film crew of 30 people around you, and it could be dangerous. It definitely can be dangerous. I've had cases where I had to go in people's apartment with undercover camera equipment, and people wouldn't let me out because they knew what I was doing. I've had to deal with, police department. I always try, or what I always did was get in touch with the local precinct and let them know, whether calling, going in, and let them know if I was going to be conducting a surveillance, just so they know that there
Smart.
is a car sitting on this, in this rural area. People are going to, they want to know, why is this car there?
Right.
So yeah, I mean, I had to testify in court. I've gotten death threats. Yeah, it's not always so safe. On a film set, you're definitely more safe.
Yeah, less death threats in my experience.
I'm glad I could laugh about it today.
Wow. So with that background, I know you play a lot of detective roles, and I'm sure that's lent into it. But what's the role that's farthest out of your comfort level that you've played?
Oh wow. I did an independent film. It was a beautiful film where I lost my son. And playing a mom is easy, but playing a mom who lost a child, that wasn't easy. So that was definitely stretching, and, trying to get to that place where I don't know God, and your heart breaks.
Right. So did you um, how did you go about that? How did you make that work?
I think by being a mom, it might have been a little easier for me to go there in my head. Not the greatest thing to go to, not the greatest thought to go to, but I think that helped. Um, and just knowing what this director and this filmmaker wanted, and the message she was trying to get out there. I just wanted to make her proud of the character, and I think she was.
Good. And I always, you even said before, it's important to find um, projects to work on that you believe in, that have a good message, that it might be a sad message, but
Right.
something that needs to get out there, something you're passionate about.
Absolutely. I mean, if there's something that people don't want to talk about, what better way than to get it out on film, where you do have this broad audience, and let people know it's okay to talk about, and it's okay to feel a certain way, and it's okay to grieve.
Oh, well put.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now back to the fun detective roles.
Yeah. Love those. I love those.
What do you bring to the table um, from your previous experience? Why do they keep calling you back?
um, I think being a woman also um, kind of helps. Yes, being a detective is mostly male dominated. It is. That's just the stats and the facts. Um, but I think here comes a woman and there's many actors that I know that are female, that totally, take on these roles of detectives, and they do a great job. And I just think that I'm one of them, because I do, I have a strong personality. And whether it's that I walk into the audition and they feel that energy, they feel that personality that I have, um, you can't be intimidated as a detective.
Hmm.
You're sitting in an interrogation room. You're trying to get information. You're trying to get people to admit a crime that they committed. There's no room for being intimidated. But at the same time, there has to be maybe a little bit of a softness to the person. And I think being a woman, not that men can't, I can only speak because I'm a woman, I can offer both.
Okay.
You know, I could be tough if I need to, but yet, you know, maybe it's a mother thing. They can feel comfortable talking to me. I'm saying like in a specific scene,
Sure.
like an interrogation. And I think filmmakers or casting directors, they like bringing women on set that are strong female role models, including detective. Yeah, so I think that has a lot to do with it.
Good.
To answer your question.
Yeah, and I mean also for shots where that character goes home or interacts with someone else to have some depth to the character versus just playing the strong personality is good. It's good to have
because
that.
At the end of the day, I'm a woman. Maybe I'm a mom, and I'm a wife, and I'm talking on you know, character role. That's also for life, but in real life. But yeah, so I think it's just makes them more human. And I think, again, as you know, being in the film industry, when you're human, you're relatable. And as viewers, that's what people want to see. I can relate to that character. So that falls into it as well, I think.
Yeah, that's why it works.
Yeah. Yeah, there you go.